You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, we're going to talk about Russell Wilson. I stumbled across a very interesting article from a radio host out of Seattle. He was on Pittsburgh radio yesterday, and they talked about Russell Wilson. And when you listen to what he's got to say, I don't know, folks. It certainly gives you an insight as to why Pete Carroll and John Schneider wanted to get rid of him and Sean Payton. And it also lets you know, is this why Sean Payton, for example, the other day I did the video, the guy asked him, was giving up $85 million on a dead cap hit hard to make it hard to cut Russ? He turned and looked at the guy and said, no. $85 million. And that would be one of my biggest concerns in all this is Denver couldn't wait to take an $85 million cap hit to get rid of this guy? That, to me, that says a whole lot. So let's take a look at this. Oh, I got to tell you, it doesn't make Russell Wilson sound like he manages his ego very well. I'm not sure how well blue-collar Pittsburgh is going to love that in their quarterback. And I have a feeling if he starts to have some on-field issues like we've seen, people are going to be clamoring for Justin Fields. And I think this may be why Justin Fields ultimately wanted to go to Pittsburgh. With Mark Madden on vacation, this is Trib Live. We didn't have a Madden Monday podcast this week. Anyway, it goes on to say Ian Furness of KJR Radio and Fox 13 in Seattle joined the Breakfast with Benz on Monday's pod. He covered Russell Wilson for all 10 years in Seattle prior to his ill-fated 2-year stint in Denver. This is going to raise your eyebrows, Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Quote, I just want to welcome you to the Russell Wilson experience. Oh, shit. It sure sounds like there is a great deal that goes into that experience. There's a lot to Russ, Furtis says, claiming that after a harmonious start to Wilson's career in Seattle, things started to erode over time, largely after he more frequently was in the spotlight after his marriage to pop star Ciara. Quote, a lot of things started to change when that happened. He kind of became a, quote, look at me guy. Yikes. He used to joke out here, it used to be their saying, why not us? Then it became, look at me for Russ. He just changed and he became a problem inside the facility with the front office, with the staff. That's the part that would bother me. Why would you become a problem and let your ego get in the way of how you treat your staff? I don't love that. It just snowballed from there before they traded him. Furness said those problems manifested in a pair of contentious contract negotiations, working with his own private quarterback coach, Jake Heaps, in a reported attempt to get Pete Carroll and John Schneider fired, a charge that Wilson has denied. This guy's acting like that's a true story. Interesting. By the way, Sean Payton got rid of Jake Heaps and was like, nah, we're using our own guys. Quote, he tried to kind of take over the organization as a player. And you saw what happened in Denver, Furness said. The first year he had his own office. Heaps had that office every day, his QB coach. It kind of came to light, and everyone lost their mind. They tried to downplay it, but that's how he operated. He operated on his own agenda. God, this is like the anti-version of an NFL player I like. And it was Russ. It was about Russ. The ultimate team sport, and it was all about Russ. To the point, the diva quarterback moniker was placed on him, and for good reason. Mike Tomlin may eat this guy alive. Or maybe Mike Tomlin's just going to be brutal with him, but you got to think. It comes no more brutal than Sean Payton, and it still didn't work out. As far as the on-field goes, Furness gushed about Wilson's competitiveness and his ability to win in Seattle. And even though he was 11-19 in Denver, his sustained arm strength, Furness also pointed out some of Wilson's failures in Denver might be on the coaching staffs of Sean Payton and Nathaniel Hackett. But Furness did express concerns that Wilson's trademark mobility that helped him rack up 9 Pro Bowls and 2 Super Bowl berths and 1 ring may be waning. Does he still have the twitch? Does he still have the speed and the quickness? He's not a 4-3 guy. But does he still have the ability to move around the pocket and make guys miss? Run for that first down? The fact that Wilson absorbed 100 sacks over the last 2 years, wow. That's crazy. Would suggest not. And that may be more about Wilson's lack of ability to see and use the middle of the field than a deterioration of his athleticism. And there has also been an over-reliance on short, safe passes from Wilson since he left Seattle. Yeah, these Warren Sharp statistics will drop your jaw. 27% of his passes behind the line of scrimmage. Number 1 out of 509 quarterbacks since 2005. That's nuts. He threw 62% of his passes within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Number 2 highest out of 509 QBs. Oh, let's just look at this whole thing. I may have done a video on this, but let's look at it. Wilson had no confidence in Wilson's intermediate passing. That is why he's no longer a Denver Bronco. Right there. The 2023 Broncos had the least amount of intermediate passing of any offense since 2005. Wilson threw just 26% of his passes between 5 and 15 yards downfield. So remember when you guys, when I tell you that when you saw Wilson and you were trying to watch him, he was foregoing the intermediate routes, pulling the ball down and taking off. That was driving Sean Payton crazy because he'd run for 6 yards, but he'd have a wide receiver wide open at 12 yards. Well, do you want 6 yards or do you want 12? Sean Payton's like, my offense ran the way it was supposed to. It was set up for success, and you didn't pull the trigger. There you go. There's always been a check down Charlie element, which is odd thing because he's got a gun. He's a great, great deep ball thrower. But I think sometimes stat padding, quarterback ranking, and completion percentage, all those things come into play. He'll take the easy throw. Yikes. He's aware during the games of his statistics. Yeah, that's crazy. It goes on to talk about him taking sacks and spinning into trouble, actually moving himself into trouble. Quote, he'll do the Russell Wilson spin around where he spins and goes backwards, Furness says. You've got a left tackle who's got his guy all the way back, but there's Russ spinning with his back to him, and he gets sacked. And then he's all mad saying, I hate getting hit all the time. Well, fella, that was on you. There's a little bit called stepping up in the pocket. It's not a big strength for him. Wow. And by the way, they go on to make a comparison between a quarterback and Russell Wilson you guys just got rid of, and that's Kenny Pickett. He had that same kind of issue. Wow. That's some scathing remarks from somebody that covered him during his entire tenure in Seattle. And it also tells you, that's a good indication. You've now got, and I said it the other day, you've got 2 Hall of Fame coaches, Pete Carroll and Sean Payton, and yes, they both will eventually make it, that couldn't wait to get rid of the guy. And one of them was willing to take a nearly $90 million dead cap hit to do it. So I know Russell Wilson's got his fans out there. I understand the signing, $1.2 million. Yeah, I'd probably give him a contract too. But it's going to be interesting to see exactly, is he going to run the offense? Is Arthur Smith going to do something more creative with him? Where it's not reliant on timing and rhythm like Sean Payton? I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe. Arthur Smith has supposedly been a fan of Russell. So we'll have to see. Don't be surprised. I'm calling it. Within 8 games, Justin Fields is the quarterback. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.